We are live. We're live. Welcome to Spit Online Salute Detroit podcast. Unfortunately, it's not a victory Saturday, but we are live. I want to start off with welcome to Jamal and Ryan. Matt, man, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Coach. Great to see you guys as always. Wish it was under better circumstances, but heartbreaker there in Ann Arbor, and excited to get into it with you guys.
Right, Die. How's it going with you?
What is up? Good. A little tired, but yeah, good. It was a very entertaining game. Obviously, a bummer result, but excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So the best way to think about this game, I'm gonna say it like this: the best way to think about this game, and maybe the result is what was needed. I'm gonna start. This is the first thing I'm gonna say. Those kids played their ass off. I'm not gonna take anything away from the way those kids played. Those kids played harder than we've ever seen in the past 2 years. Those kids played outstanding, and they gave everything they got on the field, and they gave it all they had. And I mean, I tweeted on the LAFB thing like, we lost Stanford as Cal as a rivalry. Like, maybe we might have something brewing here. You know what I mean? Like, this was, I mean, if we get more games like this, then I mean, this Michigan SC rivalry might be legit. You know, maybe we get it with Ohio State too, but neither here nor there. There was a lot of lessons learned in this game, and I'm trying to stay positive because it's only week 3, and I had a whole soak fest off air before you came online, and Ryan kind of straightened me out a little bit, but I'm trying to stay positive for week 3. There's a lot of lessons learned. The first lesson I will say is learned is you have to learn how to take the referees out of the game. Championship teams can take referees out of the game. There was a bunch of missed calls. It was awful. The wide receivers from Michigan constantly held every time Michigan went around the edge. But if you take the referees out of the game, then you have nothing to worry about. Eventually, those calls don't even happen anymore. Another thing that you have to learn to deal with is that you have to learn how to win, and that's the thing we talked about. Like, I think there was kind of a flatness in the first half, and I think they were expecting, because they were hearing SC should win this game just because SC was on top on their jersey and they had the interlock SC on their V, that they could just walk in and do what they've been doing, and that's not true. Michigan came to play. Michigan had lots of proof. Last thing I think that they're going to have to learn is they're going to have to learn how to lose now, because they just lost a big one, and the thing is, how do you recover? I will say this. There's a couple of things I will say before I jump to you guys. Miller Moss wins this game. He's for sure in the top running of the Heisman Trophy. I'm also going to say this right now, and I'm going to end this right now. That pick 6 was not Miller Moss's fault. I'm going to say this right now. Miller Moss's ball placement is very, very elite. Miller Moss's ball placement is one of the best I've seen in college football, where he puts the ball. Miller Moss put the ball where it needed to be. That's why he went and talked to Zach Branch after he threw that pick 6, because Zach Branch started drifting off, trying to stop, instead of just sitting up there and turning and going, because he put the ball in the right place, because he saw where that defender was going to be. He was expecting that defender to go to outside shoulder, and he could turn and go on the end and get the first down. That was 100% Zach Branch's fault. It's not Miller Moss's fault. Miller Moss is a very elite quarterback. Very elite quarterback. There's something we got to work up front with the front 5. We got to fix that. But Miller Moss, man, that's a tough kid. That's a really tough kid, and a lot goes off to Miller Moss. Miller Moss left it all on the field today. Miller Moss gave everything he had, and my nothing but respect for that kid. That is a tough kid. He legit got punched in the mouth. Got a lot to learn today. Got a lot to learn. Got to go get on the film. Got to go watch it. Got to go get better, man. There's a lot to learn from today, and these were the things I was worried about, because none of these kids have never been here before. Now, where do we go from here? You know what I mean? These are a lot of things that, how do you say it? People who haven't been, I'm not trying to be mean, but people who haven't been there don't understand it. They just see the outside of it. There's a lot of stuff that goes on inside, interiorly, that they have to fix, and they have to figure out, where do we go from here? Tough loss, but they played like hell. Tough loss. How do you fix it? Where do you go from here? Do you take this loss and get a lot better, or do you take this loss and tank like you have the past 2 seasons? That's the question that hangs right now. Where do you go from here, and how do you fix it? There's other things that I didn't like that we'll talk about and we'll record later, but that's just my main topic of this whole situation. Like, Miller Moss, hell of a game, tough kid, nothing but respect for him. Defense played their ass off. Championship teams have to learn how to take the refs out of the game. Those missed calls should have never even mattered if it's 21-0. Doesn't matter because we keep moving the ball, right? Negative yards just can't ever get you going. That's where I'm gonna leave that. Those are my comments on the game. I'll pass it off to I'll go to Madman. Madman, what do you have to say about today?
Yeah, Coach. I mean, it really a heartbreaker there. You walk away head held high. Trojan family should feel very proud of how USC represented themselves and the university and the fan base in the big house. And first of all, I mean, just what an iconic setting. The big house and the pageantry with both uniforms there. And it was just so unique to see it, for the first time, not at the Rose Bowl. And just really special. And that was terrific. I think there was a lot to like, and I think there's a lot to be concerned about as well. I think in terms of starting with a lot to like, I want to pick up right where you left off, Coach. How great is Miller Moss? I mean, just in terms of, we were talking about it on the chat, the three of us. I mean, the poise, the skill, the guts. I thought there was a couple of plays that were really remarkable. That first half play, SC's first 3 points of the game before anything was really going down 14-0, the way he was able to elude that corner blitz, and then kind of get back on his base, find Zach Branch down to the 9-yard line was absolutely phenomenal. I thought his ball placement, that first drive of the second half, was really terrific. I thought Lincoln did a great job in terms of the adjustments of bringing a running back to chip because the front five was struggling so much, and that sort of opened things up, found Hudson on the far side. Found some things on third down, and then that nice play off of the zone shell to find Robinson for the touchdown. He was so terrific with his ball placement. And then I think the last, what we all kind of thought was the game-winning touchdown with my guy Jacoby Lane. Again, it was 3rd and 11. Tough predicament there. It was about the 26, 27-yard line of Michigan. You knew he was going to get hit. He was able to sort of surgically throw that ball right in between the corner and the safety flying over the lane. That was an NFL throw and absolutely sensational there. So Miller Moss is a terrific quarterback, an elite quarterback, and someone that's going to be able to carry this team significantly moving forward. So we have nothing to worry about from a signal caller perspective. I think the second element that I really loved, I loved the play of Gentry, and I love the play of Mason Cobb. The way they were able to sort of anchor that front seven. I believe Gentry had 13 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss and a sack. I thought Cobb was also all over the place with half a sack himself. And I just thought their ability to crash the edge, really kind of suffocate Orji after those first couple of possessions and really made things very challenging up front. Was significant. And I think it was their play that really allowed USC to kind of get back in the game. Gentry was terrific in terms of being able on that forced fumble with Donovan Edwards down 20-17 to set up that throw with Moss to Lane. And, you have two stalwarts there. Those are your two guys at this point with back end. And then I just thought the overall competitiveness of the game was so high, and Woody Marks was just so phenomenal. That play with Jacoby Lane, the play with Miller Moss, getting hit down there in the red zone, looked like it was an incomplete or whether it was a fumble. And for Woody Marks to kind of chase down that lineman, get the ball back on that sudden change to then set up the play with Fair was terrific. So I think they competed their asses off. Coach, I think you said it best. Now, where the concerns are is in both trenches. I mean, when you look at this offensive line and how they're particularly playing, I think Miller Moss' combination of sacks, hits, and hurries was over 30 in this game. If you add up sacks, hits, and hurries, I mean, he was just kind of beaten to a pulp. Really difficult for him to sort of get into any flow, and it was his poise and it was his guts that was sort of the difference to keep this in the game. So lots of work to do on the offensive line. I thought Lincoln did a nice job at halftime moving some pieces around, but I don't think we're as far along in the trenches as we thought we were these first 2 weeks. and then the defensive line. And guys, I said this, Coach, we talked about this in the pregame show. The one piece of kryptonite to Danton Lynn defense is when you got a 230-pound running back. And Mullings, in the end, sort of wore this defense down in the second half. And they played as hard as they could, but a lot of work in that front seven in the trenches. And for as hard as they played, to be able to lose this game to a team that could only throw the ball for 30 passing yards and really didn't throw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. I mean, they were basically bubble screens. It was basically the single wing out there. To be able to lose this game, and you knew it was going to be the case, and you had the opportunity with the front seven to salt the game away, and for it to not happen, I think is awfully disappointing. And so I think we sort of have to move forward now to kind of understand where this defense is from a psyche standpoint as well as from a schematic standpoint. I think it's probably time we need to dial down the hype a little bit. I think this is a really quality team. One loss isn't going to make any sort of a difference in terms of college football viability. But I think we got to I think we were all feeling really high after that LSU game. This is kind of a comeback to earth game. And we move forward here on a short week. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but a little bit worried about that Wisconsin game as a trap game, just given how much emotional toll this game took. So those are my thoughts. A lot to like, but a lot of work to do in the trenches.
Ryan.
Yeah, I don't need to add too much more. I think you guys covered most of it. I think it's unfortunate when you see the adjustments, I think, made at half. A lot of great adjustments on both sides of the ball. Obviously, USC putting up points in that third quarter. USC defense giving up like 7 total yards in the third quarter. You mentioned, Jamal, the offensive line switch, sitting down your future left tackle and Elijah Page and moving Mason Murphy from right to left and then putting Tobias Raymond over at right. And clearly that had a huge difference. Later on in the game, Michigan was able to get home more, but for quite a few drives, Miller Moss finally had time. Woody Marks ended up with 100 yards rushing the football, so they were able to get the running game going. So I thought great adjustments there and took advantage of it. And so it's unfortunate that, a lot of mistakes, a lot of things to clean up, a lot of issues that you guys all laid out. It's just unfortunate that it kind of comes down to a one John Humphrey missed tackle on that last drive that everyone will kind of remember being, obviously a lot more. They still had to score after that. The drive before that it was really egregious play calling from Lincoln Riley when they got the ball back around midfield and kind of do some 2 shovel passes and stop the clock twice. So everything, it's a football game. There's more than everything, but everyone will remember that one busted play, missed tackle, 63-yard run that gets them down on the 17-yard line with, at the 2-minute stoppage time. So, unfortunate loss. I think there's a ton of stuff to take away from this. Some good, some bad. But yeah, we'll get into it more, but I won't add too much of what you guys already said.
I guarantee you, I bet you everything I own and everything I have, John Humphrey won't get the blame for that because he had him wrapped up. He was legit wrapped up. He was there. The person who gets the blame for that is Ramsey, who loafed to the play and assumed that the tackle was made. Next thing you know, he runs out of it and it's a 50-yard run. Like those small things like that is the stuff that I saw. And we'll talk about more stuff like that when we talk on Monday. But that we can't beat Humphrey up for that because he was there. You're taught wrap up and then everybody should rally. Well, there was no rally. And next thing you know, it's out the gate for 50 yards. And those moments like that are the small things that carry over from last season that can hurt you. And it's okay. The culture is changing. But little things poke out every now and then. It's not 100% changed. And so it will be all right. There is one thing I do want to soap about, and I don't know, and it bothers me, and I really believe in this. I don't like the way that USC travels. I feel like I just have to talk about it because I'm pretty sure, you guys don't want to talk about this on Monday, but the fact that they left at 6:30 in the morning on Friday, which is 9:30 in the morning in Ann Arbor, Michigan, it's a 4-hour flight. So that means they got there at 1:30 and did a bunch of stuff. I don't feel like they never got a chance to sit down and relax the whole time. And I know this isn't the Pete Carroll era, but every time we went to a different time zone, we left Thursday night and we was there the whole day on Friday. Like I feel like that stuff starts to show. And I always say there's a travel issue. There's a travel issue. I don't think their travel is very conducive to their body to give the best performance possible. and I'm a stick on that, and I'll die on that hill. But I don't like the way that they travel, and that stuff matters when you look down the exercise physiology behind it, the way your muscles work, the way you need your rest. When you really think about it, they got there and they probably didn't get to a hotel room. Let's see, they got there 10:30, got on the bus. I don't know where they stayed, but probably till noon. And I don't know how much time they had to rest, but what they did a walkthrough, like it's just not enough to me. And that's just how I feel. And I'm a Pete Carroll guy, so I love the fact that we leaving Thursday and get in there and all there all day Friday. Like that's just the thing to me. I just don't think it's enough for him to perform. I could be wrong, but I'm just letting you guys know I'm dying on that hill. Just want to let you guys know that I hate the way they travel. This one, I don't know if you guys got any comment or any other comment on that. I just hate the way they travel, and it kills me. It kills me. I was saying that the whole time.
No comment there. I think what kills me a little bit is, man, I mean, Michigan had 4 plays all day. I mean, It was two Mullings runs, 1 Edwards run, and 1 Johnson pick six. And Johnson wasn't even in the game the last quarter, and Humphreys, there's going to be a lot about the missed tackling there on that run. But, man, how did Mullings even get to the second level when this team is so compromised? I mean, they were at the 11-yard line, guys. This was going to be an 89-yard drive with like 2:45 to go, and they couldn't throw the ball. Like, literally, even if they got 6 yards to run, they were going to run out of time. I mean, it wasn't even like they were hurrying up. It was literally, that was the only scenario where Michigan could have won that game down 24-20 is Mullings popping one. That was it. And so to even allow him to kind of get to the second level, I don't blame the secondary at all. Look, he's 230 pounds. I mean, he's going to inflict some pain. Okay, guys, and he's coming full steam. It's just physics at that point. We can talk technique all we want. Technique doesn't beat physics. So, it just, that's what kills me here, that this team was so compromised offensively. I mean, they look like a high school team in terms of their pass offense. And the fact that you couldn't close the door and allow this team to march down the field and win the game, really tough. And the fact that the offensive line couldn't generate enough of a rhythm in terms of the line of scrimmage for this team to sort of get off to a better start and extend the lead. To me, that's what I leave with is just questions on both lines right now moving forward. We got a great quarterback. We got a great culture. We got a great future. This is going to be a loss that puts SC down maybe 2 spots in the rankings, guys, maybe 3, not more than that, on the road. This is still a number 13, number 14 team, still with all the dreams of the playoff. But we got to get better in the trenches because they just lined it up and ran it on us, and we just wore down. And that is, in many ways, you could sort of lose this game which way. This was perhaps the most painful way to lose this game, particularly with all of the momentum of the Danton Lynn defense and what it meant and everything that they did in terms of strength and conditioning standpoint. They wore down and they wore out against a heavyweight champion. So there's some soul searching there. That's the thing that kind of kills me. It's not like they lost to a team that was elite and peppering it all over the place. That's the tough part. And offensively trying to find some rhythm, guys, because outside of that first drive in the second half, there wasn't much there. I mean, it was the one throw to Branch that set up the field goal. It was the one Woody Marks run on a 3rd and 2 that was kind of a bust. And then, that sudden change after the fumble, they didn't look ready and Fair was wide open. Outside of a couple of those plays, and then, of course, after the Gentry fumble, it was one play to Jacoby Lane. So, I mean, it's sort of one play to Branch, one play to Lane, one Woody Marks run, one throw. It was kind of like Michigan had 4 plays the whole game. We had 4 plays the whole game, and so that's what kind of hurts, is that it felt like we were full strength on both sides of the ball. They were very compromised on one side of the ball, and we couldn't get it done.
So did you have anything, Ryan?
No, go ahead.
So here's one thing I want to say. When Michigan didn't get that 4th down and Lincoln Riley didn't challenge it, that bothered me a little bit. Because it's like, hey, like that could switch a lot of the game. You know what I mean? I feel like it was worth the challenge. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it was worth the challenge a little bit. I don't know, but I'm like, it's worth the try. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things like if a player gets ejected in baseball and the head coach doesn't come and protect him, it's just kind of weird to me. So I don't know. You know, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I felt like we should have challenged that. That was probably the biggest thing that irked me. And I retweeted Lindell's thing. You saw that, Ryan? I retweeted Lindell saying he was pretty upset about it.
I saw what Lindell said,
Yeah, he was pretty upset. Like, it's worth the challenge. Do you guys agree or disagree? I feel like it's worth the challenge at least. If you lose it, okay, fine. But I feel like right after that play, they busted a big run, and that's where they got their first score. Here's the thought process behind the challenge. If you do the challenge, it's a free timeout. It's not necessarily free because if you lose a timeout. But at that time, you get a timeout. You got a time to talk about stuff because that challenge might have taken a while. You could talk about things. You could get the right play in. You could talk to the guys upstairs and ask, who do you see in? Where do you see? What do you think is going to happen? You can at least put something together to get the right play and prevent that. But you didn't even try. And you don't know what mindset your players are in. You can at least be like, hey, guys, like, shit happens. Let's get it back together. Let's get this stopped. You know what I mean? But just not challenging that to me is like the biggest question I have in this whole game. That could have shifted the whole game. Could have. We don't know. I'm not saying it would have, or I am saying it could have, but we don't know for sure. But it was worth the try. You know what I mean? At least try. Like some things you just have to try. And I think at that point, you should have tried it.
Yeah, I think obviously hindsight, it for sure. I mean, it'd look on replay to be a little short, but I think just if I'm playing devil's advocate, I think because it was so early in the game, you only get one challenge per game, coach's challenge, and the call on the field was first down. So did you really believe there was challenging spots on the field is so hard. You hardly ever win that. So I agree. I was for it, but I understand that early in the game and the way your defense had already kind of played a little bit. I understand not doing it, but yeah, obviously hindsight would have been nice because it was literally I think the next play they busted for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like at least you'd have got the timeout. All right, we lost the timeout, we lost the challenge. It is what it is. But maybe I would have had the right play to stop that. You know, maybe we could have calmed our players down and get them in the right headspace. There's so many positives I could have got out of that huddle compared to like, oh well, let's get to the next play. Next thing you know, Edwards is busting out for a touchdown. Or it wasn't Edwards, it was the big dude, Mullins or whatever.
Mullins, yep.
Yeah, I think that one was Mullins, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, I don't want to necessarily like pile on Lincoln. I thought, he did what he could there. I agree with Ryan. It's so early in the game, and it's also like first down at the 36, so early in the game. It's kind of it's a tough one there to say, is that the one that I really need? But certainly, it's hindsight. I will say, I mean, I think there were a couple of, one thing that I also take away a little bit is there's some work to be done in the red zone. I think that particularly, that first drive with Branch, got it to the 11 first down. I think there needs to be a little bit more kind of tight end play. I'll tell you, the McCree loss was significant. I think, not having McCree down the stretch, particularly late in that game where you could sort of salt it away, that's kind of Miller's guy, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. When the going gets tough, like, Branch gets a lot of publicity in space. Hudson obviously has been really spectacular with the one-handed catches. Lane's kind of his guy to go deep, for the touchdowns. But when he really needs a play, McCree on those seam routes was pretty significant. And I thought that Michigan did a really nice job of kind of limiting McCree when he was healthy. I think that caused, a couple of those red zone drives to come up empty, the end of that first half. And then obviously, right before the incomplete / fumble. And then Marks obviously got it back. But, that was kind of a stop at that point. And not having kind of McCree get open was significant. And then the loss, on getting cut, like that. And I just feel so bad for him. I wish him nothing but the best. Yeah. He was very emotional on the sideline. I think deep down he feels like it perhaps is a little bit of a more serious injury. Gentry, I thought, did a great job of coming over, putting his arms around him. But just hope everything for the best for Lake McCree, because that's a big loss, moving forward.
Oh,
Well,
speaking of injuries, real quick, I want to address the Lemon injury. So, being in Lemon's situation, and Russ Romano was still there, still the head athletic trainer. I was completely knocked out in Nebraska, like almost 2 minutes worth of commercials. I came off the sideline. I thought I was being able to sit on the sideline. USC's protocol when people get concussions like that is to go to the hospital and get a CAT scan. So that's why he went to the hospital. I knew instantly once I saw Russ and he was walking to the sideline and Lemon was upset. I was like, I've been in that exact same situation. They have him go get a CAT scan to see if there's any blood clots in the brain before they get on the plane, because that's serious if you have a blood clot in your brain getting on the plane. So it was just a concussion, but him going to the hospital it's typical USC athletic training protocol. So just to relieve the worry there. I've been in that situation. It's on YouTube. I will show you guys one day when I got my lights just blasted and show you how long the commercials were. The commercials were so long, they started showing Nebraska women's volleyball and started talking about how great they were. So Mekhi Lemon should be all right. Well, he's be in the protocol, but the hospital thing is USC athletic training protocol. Just to let you guys, let all our fans know, let everybody know that's why he was going to the hospital.
Yeah.
I know you guys have to get out of here. I'm gonna stay on a little bit. I'm gonna try something new. And then we'll talk. I'm gonna send an invite, and I'm gonna have the guests come on. I'll talk to the guests for a little bit. I'll probably be on for like another 20 minutes. I know you guys have busy lives and everything. And then we'll get together if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
I will. The only thing there's rules. I'm gonna drop the link in here. Be respectful. Be respectful. If you want to turn your camera on, you can, but just be respectful and things like that. Ryan and Jamal has to get out of here. They have busy schedules, family stuff. If you guys want to stay, of course you guys can stay, but it's completely up to you guys. But you guys be respectful when you come in here, and all that stuff. But fellas, I guess we got to get together. We got lots of stuff to talk about on Monday. We got to get through it.
Absolutely, Coach.
Here we go.
Another day, another week. We'll keep our heads held high here, but Trojan family should be very proud of the effort. And, we'll let this kind of sink in. So much more to unpack on Monday. But, I'll leave with this, Coach and Rye. Hopefully they can kind of absorb this tonight and hopefully wash this thing away tomorrow. Because, Coach, you said this week was the trap game. I think next week's the trap game. I don't
have a quarterback, though. Their quarterback's out for the year.
Well, Michigan didn't have a quarterback today either. How did that work
true.
out? So,
that's true.
So, I think there's when you're coming back from kind of the emotional, you're gutted emotionally right now with these kids. I mean, they thought they had it won, to then come back with a loss. Now you're coming back, you're going to come back late tonight. You got to dust yourself off, get ready for another kind of bruising Big Ten team. And I assure you, Paul Chryst is sort of watching and saying, big running backs. Okay. And it's going to be kind of a similar recipe. Hopefully we're emotionally ready. And let's not forget, this is the Grinch reunion week. And so, this guy obviously not very successful as a defensive coordinator, but when you've been Lincoln Riley's defensive coordinator for 8 years, you got to believe he knows some things that just about everybody else doesn't know. So the combination of the emotional letdown with the familiarity of Grinch, I think we have to be on trap game alert this week. And I'm sure we'll get into it.
They play on Friday?
They play Saturday.
Oh, you said it was a short week. I'm like, what happened?
Well, I think emotionally it's kind of a short week because I think it's going to be hard to kind of let this one go right away.
Got to. That's a part of learning this stuff. You got to.
Yeah.
This is the one where you legit got to. You fell off your bike, your knees bloody. You just got to get up and keep riding your bike.
Yep, yeah. Absolutely. We'll learn a lot. We'll learn a lot about this team, about Lincoln and the culture this week in terms of how they can kind of flush it and move forward. I think we have a lot of confidence they can, but this is trap game alert. This week. Yep.
All right. Good deal. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So I guess nobody wants to come in. I dropped the link, but nobody wanted to come in. They just want to leave it in the comments. All right. Well, I think anybody wants to come in, I'll drop the link in there. I'll drop it one more time. You guys want to come in, take calls. I know you and Ryan, you and Jamal have to go. Like I said, if you guys want to stay, you can. You guys are more than welcome. I can't tell you what to do.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
If you guys want to,
coach, come on. Only Ryan tells us what to do. Outside of that, it's all good.
Yeah, I dropped the link, you guys. If you guys want to come in, come on in. We'll answer. We could talk. You guys have your opportunity to talk. Everybody can hear you talk.
I was waiting for some OU fans to come talk smack, but obviously they're playing right now.
There's a Michigan fan in here just lighting us up. Look, this guy right here, this Lee Austin guy. Good night, fellas. I feel good. Y'all ran your mouth for 2 weeks, and now sleep on this. Go blue, held to the victors. I don't think it's.
I don't know who rang their mouth.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the mouth running.
I'm not even saying just us, but from the team, from the media, I don't think anyone was really.
And I think
a lot of people thought SC would win, but that was like running their mouth.
I think we were the ones, Jamal, that was like, I called this a trap game. I also said there's a lot of things that could happen that the game could go wrong. Like I was very humble, like should win, and Michigan could win, and the shoulds and coulds definitely came into fruition. So it definitely happened. I'm getting a lot of flack from my brother. I'm surprised he hasn't in here and threw them stupid ass ducks in here yet. But yeah, I will say this to the fans: it's okay. It's okay. Like we just need to learn. This is the thing we have to remember. Majority of this team is coming back next year, right? And I think the only one who's leaving that really matters is Miller Moss based on his season. And then we have another quarterback in the hole that's just as good, and we see him play. So I think we're okay. We're okay. Like it's just sometimes you got to learn the hard way. We've often been through life learning things the hard way. So
Coach, the one thing I'll say is absolutely. I think I want to kind of foot stomp what you said, but I think the program is definitely going in the right direction. But I don't want to talk about next year. This is about this year. There's no guarantees about next year about anything.
It was more when you talk about transfer portal,
when you talk about NIL, when you talk about Danton Lynn getting a new job, you talk about Lincoln. I mean, there's no guarantees. Next year is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed in any way, shape, or form. I think there's a lot of promise for this year, and it's all about this year.
Yeah, no, I was meant more. Okay, let me rephrase it. The offense, this is a very young team that's very talented. We should put it like that. Most of them are sophomores, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? The good talent is sophomore. So think about how competitive this young team is. So it's all not lost. And when you think of a young team like this, we're going to take some growth pains. And today was a growth pain. And it's okay. We're okay. I'm not all out on it, and I'm not out. And I'm not saying I'm not where I'll put it like this. Where I am today is like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is something that we needed, because this is what comes with being a champion, and you're not going to always go undefeated. The game's not always going to go your way. You're going to have to deal with adversity like this. Maybe this is what we needed. And like, this is a great learning experience. And hopefully from this learning experience, we become better like we should, like champions should. You know what I mean?
Coach, that's what? And I'm hogging the tube here, so please step in. But this game, two things. One is this game reminded me a little bit, if you recall, Coach, 08 Oregon State. You remember the 08 Sanchez year opener against Ohio State at home, 35-3. Everybody's fired up. After kind of 06 and 07, letting a few games slip, everyone said, hey, this team is back. We go up to Corvallis. That was the Jacquizz Rogers game, if you remember. And the final of that was 27-21. We fell behind 21-0, came back. It was 27-21. Very similar in terms of this game, and just in terms of running game, kind of got off to a lead and whatnot. And then the rest of that season, used it with great linebacker play, much like this team, and an opportunity to finish strong. So let's hope history repeats itself in that way this year. And the second thing, what I'm just devastated about, I'm just torn up about, is, Ryan doesn't get to shave. And so
I was about to mention that.
Either way,
you don't get to grow your beard. You don't get to grow your beard.
I'm distraught, guys, right now. Okay, I'm distraught.
I'm glad I don't have to go bald, but I'm still going to shave. I'm going to trim this thing. I've just been letting it go.
I just want to see that beautiful Dairud face, in its entirety, and I'm just torn up to shreds about it.
Now you may never see it.
I think I'm more upset that I don't get to see Jamal with a beard. And I said, like, Jamal, you could trim it. We just want to see you with a full beard, so you can be like,
Yeah.
but we
Oh,
don't get to
man.
see it. It's all right. But at the end of the day, hey, man, it's. I have to say it like this. It's okay. It's okay. Like, it's all right. I can't say this, and I'm gonna look in the rearview mirror. If this was last year, they would have put 40 up on us and ran all the way up and down the field. There were stops that we needed to get, and we were able to get the stops. There's so much things showing us trending in the right direction, and I'm just gonna bank on this. Like, we're a young team. We're a young team. I'm not going to look into the future, Jamal. I'm going to say right now, presently, we're a young team, and we have a lot of talent with a young team, and we're going to be okay. That performance that they put on the field, this is the only thing I want you to think about. And I want all you guys listening and typing, stop typing for a minute. I want you guys to really think about what I'm about to say. This team that you saw today that went down 14-3 going into the half came back and took the lead, right? Came back and took the lead and made it a game. And at one point thought, oh, this was going to be one of the greatest comebacks. This is a very good game, even though we lost the game by 3 points. Now, if this was a year ago, if we're down 14-3, what do you think the result is? Those are the things you have to think about. Let's talk about the progress. Everybody's quick to jump ship. Well, you guys are jumping ship. If we start going the right direction, we're not going to let you back on the ship. How about that? You know what I mean? We're not going to let you back on the ship. So there's a lot of positive. This is a very good lesson. We fell off our bike. Are we going to sit down and cry and have our mom come pick us up? Or are we going to get up, wipe our knee off, and we're just going to keep pushing through? Those are the things we have to think about. Nobody wanted to come in and talk, so it looks like I'm done. You guys done?
I'll just add one final thing.
Go ahead, Ryan. You can add whatever you want.
And I obviously everyone's, and even in the chat, everyone's talking about the trenches, and rightfully so. I think particularly on defense, going into this year, we talked about it all the time in the offseason. We knew that the scheme was going to be better. We knew with the weight gain, it would be better. But there were still questions of, would there be a bit of a talent discrepancy? This was going to be a, 1 year, I don't want to call it a rebuild necessarily, but the defense we thought would take some time to gradually get to the level to where it needs to be to play 60 plays in this Big Ten football. And I think we saw that very early on in this game when in the first half, they were just getting bullied around. And it looked like this game at one point in midway through that second quarter, it felt like this game could get out of hand. I mean, the offense had no first downs. They had negative 16 rushing yards or whatever. The defense had given up 2 big plays then in back-to-back drives. And I think what showed me, if we're talking a positive spin right now, is that the way that, and just talking defense, the way that they adjusted from halftime and really until that final drive, that the USC defense completely controlled Michigan's offense in that second half. Defensive line looked better. I thought Gavin Meyer had a fantastic game. Would have liked to see more out of Bear Alexander. I think he was not great, but he wasn't terrible. But Gavin Meyer looked good. Nate Clifton, I thought, looked good in the backfield a lot. And then obviously, as Jamal mentioned, the linebackers were fantastic. And Gentry and just the passion he plays with is just so fun to watch. So that is like scheme and culture that has totally transitioned and improved so much. And, we thought before the season, like, okay, there's going to be some growing pains. They're just not quite there talent-wise. And then I think through 2 weeks, everyone was like, whoa, it's a lot better than we expected. You're going up against Mason Graham and arguably one of the best defensive lines in
no doubt,
not just college football, but in the Big Ten. And yeah, they gave up 290 yards on the ground or whatever. So it looks bad on paper, but they took them to the brink. And so not good enough. This is USC. You got to win it. You don't have rebuild years. You got to be good every year. But I think if we're taking that positive look, I think there is a lot good there, specifically in that second half in terms of adjustments and how these guys, obviously battled, but just how sound they were outside of that
very
one
sound
play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, here, Ryan. That was
we got
really
to
well
guess,
said.
Jamal. We got to guess,
really
Jamal.
Well said. No, and I think I completely agree with what Ryan said. Here, Ryan. I mean, in terms of moving forward, I think the only question I have is, how much was that scheme and how much was that just knowing Michigan wasn't going to throw the ball?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there was still kind of a respect early in the game where it's like, we don't have anything on Orgy on film. We don't know what's going on. You know, you're playing a little bit more honest. In the second half, I mean, the front seven was just totally cheating run. And so to me, how much of that is scheme and how much of that was just the lack of Michigan's pass offense? And I think that'll just reveal itself in time over season as this team matures, but totally agree with you.
Stefan, how are you doing, man? Remember, number one rule, just be respectful. What do you got for us?
Oh, most definitely. It's just frustrating. I think I'm kind of more so on the line of we had 2 weeks off to prepare for this game, man. And I feel like, how do you come lay an egg like that? You know, I know the defense did a beautiful job, man. Beautiful job. And it's kind of frustrating because all we asked for was a defense last year and the year before. And we got a defense now. But it's like now the offense took 10 steps back. It's like, what? I understand we don't have Caleb Williams. Okay, that's just common sense. I understand that. But it's like, man, like having an offense putting up 40 points a game. We didn't have a defense. We've been asking for a defense. Now we got a defense. Now, you know, we can't even put up points. Like our offensive line, I mean, number 0 from Michigan was just whipping who was that? Elijah Page, I think it was, or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, giving them the business all game. And then I'm gonna just, in my opinion, is just like, where's some of these calls at? I understand we at their house at the big house and stuff like that, but you gotta call again. I'm one of them type of people. You gotta call fair, man. You gotta call, if you calling it on our end, you calling false starts and stuff like that. You gotta call it on their end. We missing 2 face masks. That they missed. What was that? They the horse collar that they didn't call. Like, it's right there in your face. How are you missing it? You know, and you don't want to cry about the referee because you got to play through some of that stuff or whatever. It's just frustrating that we had 2 weeks off and we didn't go out there and dominate like I thought we would. I felt like, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Our offensive line can't play like that going forward, though. We got to get better, you know, because it's not going to get no easier. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, especially when we play, Penn State? You know, they're a tough team, too, and they like to run the ball. You know what I mean? And it's hard. Like, I even joined USCJ, and I was just saying, man, going forward, we got to do better than that. Riley got to do some better play calling, man, because oh man, it's just like we had the game, and I just want to say one thing, like with the, you know, all 11 to the ball or whatever. Kamari Ramsey, what are you doing? You once the guy have him wrapped up, you come finish him off. It's like you whipped on the play, like it's almost like he just overshot the play or whatever, and like you let him. You supposed to finish him off. He had him wrapped up at the bottom. You supposed to come finish number 20 off. And that's pretty much the game right there to me. I don't know what down that was. Was that like 3rd down or something like that?
It was something like that. I think.
Yeah, but 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1.
Yeah, but you finished the game off right there. You know, I mean, defense did a hell of a job though. But I just feel like that one play right there where he broke off that long run. It was a 63-yard run, whatever. It was just like, damn, that's the game right there. Like, oh man. And it's like now in your head, it's like, do we let them score easy so we can have some more time on the clock? And I was kind of thinking that too. Like, do we just let them just score? Or do we try to just stop them on defense or whatever? So it's kind of like now you put yourself in a situation where you got to kind of make a decision. You know, we already used our time out, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, man, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. I just feel like we had this game. I mean, I'm glad it's not a year of now we got an extended playoffs. Now we can afford to lose a game. And I hope the committee, I just feel like now we gave they love to hate USC. Now we got Paul Feinbaum, Joe Klatt, and all these guys, Stephen A. Smith, and the list goes on. Now we gave them ammunition to say what they're going to say. But I guess we could just ignore it and just, whatever. We just take care of business and we still be all right. But it's just frustrating because they already against us already as it is. You know what I'm saying? But now we gave them ammunition to shoot their shots or whatever. It's like, oh, this is what we thought USC is going to be. We're going to hear it. We're coming up come Monday and stuff like that. So it's just frustrating, man. That's all it is.
I would say this. I would say this, and I don't think a lot of people notice this. Wink Martindale was running a lot of cover 2, and he was running a lot of trap 2. And
Right.
the previous games before, he was running a lot of man. He was blitzing a lot. So I think him coming out in that first half, running a lot of trap 2 and a lot of cover 2, kind of threw Lincoln Riley off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that messed him up with the 2 weeks of preparation. I was surprised preparation-wise how Coach Lynn was ready for the quarterback run and things like that. A lot of people are going to say the O-line's not big enough. I'm going to revert back to this. They're young. So
Right.
I'm good with them being young. I mean, like I said earlier, the not wrapping up, we're going to see traits of last year pop up. And it's okay. This is not the end of the world. And I even think I believe if we lost this game and we win the rest of the game out, even with a 14 playoff, it would have came down to the Big Ten championship. If we would have got into the Big Ten championship, we would have had a shot to get into the playoff. This is not a bad football team. We didn't lose to a bad football team. We even had a guy come on the show say, where Michigan is now, they're at the exact same place that they were when they won the national championship. So
okay, but can I say one thing? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to. So, are we saying Texas is that good, and are we saying LSU is that bad then?
Yes,
because because they just beat UCLA.
They didn't blow UCLA out. Don't let the score fool you. They were in a dogfight until the end of the third quarter against UCLA, and then they ran away with it. And
correct.
That game was tied at halftime.
It was tied at halftime, and Texas is the best team in college football this year. Yes, Texas is that good.
That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot right there. Oh man.
There's a Pete Carroll guy as his head coach. What do you expect? That's
right.
This winner. So Texas is that good. I appreciate you, Stephon. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, bro.
Definitely. So I mean, there you have it. Yeah.
Well, Coach Rye, always a pleasure. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Love that Stephon joined us. Hope others do the same. Coach, I'm sure you'll be able to hold down the fort beautifully. And I'll see you guys on Monday.
Yeah, I'll text you, Matt, man. I'll text you.
Sounds great.
All right, bro. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Enjoy your night.
If anybody else want to jump in, see, Stephon, let's see if Stephon popped above. I'll drop the link one more time for you guys. If anybody else wants to jump in on this thing, let me know. Other than that, I think we're going to if nobody else wants to jump in, Ryan, I think we covered all we had to cover.
Yeah. I think too, like, and you can never. It's hard to compare. Like when teams play different teams, every week is different.
Correct.
But also when Michigan, and I'm not saying this is an excuse because obviously they just ran the ball against SC right now. But when Michigan played Texas, they had Davis Warren quarterback, and he threw 2 interceptions, critical interceptions, and obviously they knew going into this game they were just going to protect the football. And SC did get that one turnover with a nice peanut punch from Gentry.
Yeah.
But
we actually got 2 turnovers technically because Woody Marks got a turnover.
Yeah, that was what a heads up play on that.
Hey, I told you Woody Marks is going to be the best transfer running back. I told you guys.
He's great. He's been he's so good. And yeah, I don't know. I get it. I love the call, Stephon. I definitely get all the frustration, and it's it's rightfully so. But I think this. I don't know. I think that's still a good Michigan football team. I think a lot of fans maybe undersold it just because of losing to Texas and barely beating Arkansas State, but it's still the big house. They're still the defending champs. We'll see. We'll see how this season goes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
If SC comes out next week and blows out Wisconsin, then then that'll be good.
Yeah, like I said, even if this was a 14 playoff, if this was a 14 playoff and SC wins out, right? SC wins out, and it comes down to the Big Ten championship, and they win the Big Ten championship. They're in the 14 playoff, right? This game doesn't make or break our season. The game that really makes and breaks our season, which we need to talk about on Thursday, is what they do next Saturday, right? And that's the game that's going to determine it. But this is, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, it's okay. I think people are having a freak out like they did when we lost those commitments and everybody started freaking out. And I told everybody, hey, it's okay. It's okay. People are going to lose. Alabama lost with Nick Saban. Alabama lost some games with Nick Saban. It's okay. Like, it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is too. Like, I want to clear this up because I saw a lot of this. I've been seeing a lot of this in the comment. This is the one thing that this, I don't want, how do I say this properly, Ryan? this isn't 100% true because they are. And HOV is now probably one of the top 10 collectives in the NCAA. Factual statement that they're probably one of the top 10s ever since they made the merger with Conquest. Factual statement that their collective is elite now. Guaranteed. But
yeah, money is not really an issue. You have to, I mean, I'm not even saying this in certain players. I wrote an article about this actually last week, and as it just pertains to Gavin Meyer. But with the portal, and I'm not saying there's guys that they probably would have liked to have gotten missed on, or maybe when money wasn't quite right at the end of last year and they missed out on that early portal period. I'm not saying that didn't happen. But you have to realize too, you got to go after the right guys. Who's going to be right in your culture locker room? Lincoln Riley talked about this just last week. I think it was in pertaining to Gavin Meyer. And, there's certain guys that are worth more and maybe better on paper, but a game like this, you lose, that player tears apart your locker room. And that's way worse effect than losing this game, but having the right culture guys that now you go back to work and you come out ready to go against Wisconsin. And so I think that needs to be at least mentioned that, yeah, they probably did miss on some early on with NIL issues. I don't think now there will be NIL issues, or there hasn't been basically since March or so, for sure since the summer. But there's definitely guys, and I do know this fairly factual, that they actually didn't even go after because it just wasn't a fit they sought. So.
Yeah. See, I agree with Coach. There's a little something to do with travel plans. I traveled out here yesterday, and I'm still discombobulated. Not excuse, but it did take them 2 quarters to get going. It's up. There we go. Hey, Jay, I dropped the link. I'm going to drop it again. Come on in, Jay. Come in, Jay. Let's holler at Jay real quick, Ryan. Come in, Jay. I just dropped the link in the thing, Jay. If you got to go, Ryan, you could go. I don't have nothing to do.
I'll go after that. If Jay comes in, I want to say what up.
Yeah. Obviously. Hey, and Ryan, I'm going to put you on blast on live. I heard about your little secret text community. Tim told me about it. Your little secret about. With you, Jay, Tim, and some other guys. You got a little secret text community going on. I know about it. I heard about it.
I don't think it's a secret.
I'll just give you a hard time. I'm just giving you a hard time. Jay, you get the link? I will wait for you to pop on in. I forgot where. I'm just gonna keep referring back to this. Oh, there's the best way to describe it. So we lost to somebody, and Sark was like, Coach Carroll was talking to the whole team, and Sark was like, Coach, can I say something? And Sark was like, Coach Carroll was like, yeah. Sark was like, look, you can turn your camera on, Jay. Turn your camera on, man. Sark was like, you could go about this 2 ways. We got punched in our mouth. Are you going to wipe the blood off, look at it, and get up and go punch everybody else in the mouth? Or are you going to sit up there and just look at the blood and drop your head and take the punch in the mouth? That's the best way to go about it. USC, Jay, what up, baby? How you doing, man?
Man, what's the word, man? How you guys doing, man? I know you guys feeling like me right about now, man. This was kind of like a real put a bitter taste in my mouth, man. But we'll talk about it. You just let me know where you want to start from.
No, I was just saying, I was just saying that I'm upset about some stuff, but I can't be too upset, Jay. You know why? Because we're young, and I want to see how we come back from this. This is like I fell off my bike, I scraped my knee, and am I gonna go cry to my mom, or am I gonna wipe the blood off and keep riding my bike?
Right,
I think we needed this, Jay. I really think. Hey, you remember when I came on Friday? I told you this got trap game feeling to it. You remember? I
think, and I think me as well. I was saying, look, we can't take it for granted. Everybody was saying, oh, this, we gonna do this. I said, look, you guys obviously haven't played football before, and this game is about, of course, X's and O's, the Jimmys and Joes. It's about all that, but just looking at the game, I think adjustments could have been made earlier, especially with Elijah Page. If we saw that Elijah Page wasn't effective on that tackle spot, and we've seen this guy keep rushing, why not switch him out? That's number one. Number two, I feel like, and this is no knock on anybody, I feel like if Miller is having some issues at the end, maybe put Jaden Mayava in there just to run some RPO stuff, just to kind of neutralize that pass rush, because they were just bulldozing our guys. And you keep Miller in there, but maybe you bring Jaden Maiava in for some other stuff to kind of keep him honest, man, because he was getting beat down. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It felt like, yes, we made the defensive adjustments in the second half, but at the end, the Achilles heel came back up. As far as you saw Humphreys that came from UCLA missed that tackle, man, and it's just like, man, come on, man. All we had to, but that's a whole other thing. We got a whole lot of calls that we didn't get that really, really killed us as well.
Yeah, Jay, but also you got to remember, championship teams don't let referees affect the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's something we got to learn. And then the thing with Humphrey, and I was talked about this earlier, the thing with Humphrey is I'm not putting that on Humphrey. I'm putting that on Ramsey. Ramsey should have came and cleaned that up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
so all that stuff, man. Yeah, all that stuff is just, I still, I did a live immediately after the game, and I went and just kind of had a bunch of people.
My fault, I missed it. My fault, Jay.
No, you good. I just went on there and I just kind of cut it short, maybe about 45 minutes, because I like to come check you guys and some other people out. But I feel like I still salute our team. You go down 14 points. And to be in the big house and still be able to have the ability to stay in the game, to me, that kind of lets me know that, look, these guys are doing something right, because last year's team, there's no way they would have came back like that and been in it. You remember what happened at Notre Dame? We were all the way lost in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Hey, Jay, you know what? I said that, Jay. I was like, last year, if this was a year ago, we would have got blown out going in.
Blown out the water. I mean, that Notre Dame game, that is no way, and that was with Caleb. So I still think I think Miller kind of he got himself together. I do think some of the receivers. One guy brought a great point. I think the receivers, that pick six, Kyron Hudson had the same type of play on the sideline, and he dropped the ball, but he tried to attempt to help Miller out. Jacoby Lane attempted to help Miller out as well by catching that touchdown. He went up and grabbed it. I felt like Zach Branch, much love to him, I love him, but he kind of just sat there. To me, the whole game, he kind of looked different in his eyes, man. If you could see it on TV, he just didn't look right.
No, 100%. He was drifting on that. He should have never drifted.
And he had that drop on the last drive, which would have given him a first down and stopped the clock.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm gonna be a little controversial real quick, but in the spring when I did a show with Jamal, and I'm about to have the comments going crazy. In the spring when I did a show with Jamal, I said Zach Branch isn't a receiver. He's more of a running back. If you put Zach Branch at running back, he'll get a lot more stuff, or you got to start giving him fly sweet stuff. He hasn't really been impressive at receiver. When you really sit down and think about it.
I mean, Mekhi Lemon, you could probably argue that Mekhi Lemon is a lot more effective at receiver than Zachariah Branch. And that's not even it's not even close if we just keep it honest about that. But
no, 100%.
I think it's certain things that we could do with Zachariah Branch, but we gotta get him out of space. He's that type of guy that you gotta get out of space. I remember, we had another guy that was kind of similar, Velus Jones. You remember Velus Jones? I felt like he was never utilized right, man. And so it's all about using your personnel the right way. And if these guys don't use it the right way, they, it's going to look like they don't know what they're doing. But I think that's somewhat of the case with him.
Yeah. You got anything for Jay, Ryan?
No, I think you guys hit it. It's good to hear from you as always, Jay. I mean, tough loss, but.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, Jay. It's a tough loss, but we'll be all right. We'll get better.
Yeah, it's how long you guys been on?
Shit, an hour.
Oh man! Oh wow! Okay,
we were probably on about the same time.
Yeah, I was, man. It was like 1,000 people in my chat, man. I had all. Yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. I took a picture of it. I'm gonna put it on Twitter. But yeah, it was too. I had to cut it off. I said, I want to check these guys out.
Hey, you got to start sending them our way, Jay. Once you're done, you're like, go check out Super Detroit.
Matter of fact, hey, ask anybody that was in there today. I said, go check out LAFB because I'm getting ready to go in there myself. That was my exact words today when I got off.
Good deal.
At the end of my podcast, you'll see it today. Go check it out.
I will.
Good man.
Good deal. I appreciate you, Jay.
Yeah. So, man, much love to y'all, man. We're gonna pick up the fragments, man. We're gonna get back. I think it's not over for this team. I think this team got a lot of fight. I like what I saw from Eric Gentry. I like what I saw from some other guys. Those guys are still playing some tough defense, man. So at some points, we know we got to give us the big runs, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, good deal.
Yep, all right, fellas.
All
Well,
right.
look, man, I was glad I was able to catch the tail end, man.
All right.
Thanks,
Good
brother.
deal, Jay.
Good seeing
I'll
you as
see
always, man.
All right.
All right, man. Stay blessed. I'll talk to you guys later.
You
All
too,
right,
bro.
I'll talk to you, Jay.
soon.
All right. Brian, what's going on, buddy? Let me unmute you. You can't unmute because he has to mute himself. Brian, unmute yourself. Try it again. This is like being a work meeting. You're on mute. You're on mute. You had it.
Sorry
Brian.
about that.
No, you're good. What you got for us, Brian?
Man, no, we pretty much covered everything that I was thinking already. I had a hard time seeing, you guys probably had a better view than I had because I was in the stands, but the only things that are stuck in my mind is just running up the gut for, yaks, or not after catch, but, just big busts up the gut is just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the oh man, it's
Coach, let me ask something real quick.
go ahead.
That last touchdown on the fourth and 2. I don't know if you saw it, and we haven't looked at all the film, but they showed it a few times from the end zone. Do you think Mascarenas Arnold chose the wrong gap, or was that was his gap and someone else just didn't get to the outside gap in time?
I don't think they had enough
Yeah.
numbers over there.
I didn't catch the video clip after, but it did seem like we were all boxed in the middle, and I figured they would run off tackle because we were all clumped up either on the other side or in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have enough numbers because they ran to the side with the offset tight end and they ran opposite of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ran opposite of the offset tight end, right?
I
If
think
I'm
so.
not mistaken. Yeah, they put all their defense to the offset tight end. They only had like there was times where Deanson Lynn, he put all his defense to the strong side and he only had 3 and they were washing. Every time there was a big run, all it was a basic ass wash down and he just went around the corner.
Yep.
And Lamont, Eric Gentry played his ass off today. I saw that
That
question earlier. I meant to answer. Eric Gentry played his ass off today.
Yeah, you did. And that was the thing too. I saw them sub out Gentry on that either that series towards the end there. They pulled him out, and that he would have been on that corner, that edge spot right there, right?
Yeah, but there's a little bit difference. Gentry's 220 pounds, and they probably put in a bigger body. I always say this. I don't know what their game plan is. I don't know what they're coached. I don't know what they're told to do. I don't know any of that. All I could go is off of what I see and what I would do and what I assume. So when I break stuff down, it's just my opinion and my past experience. So I don't know what their game plan was, but if it was me, I probably would have taken Gentry out too against that formation because it was big. And I would have put in more defense linemen. I would have took my corners out. And I would have used safeties to cover the tight ends and running backs, and I would have used more defense linemen because there's no need for a safety at that time because there was no receivers in the game. So why do I need safeties in? I mean, why do I need corners in? So just use more linebackers and defensive linemen.
You're right, but he is bigger than Cobb. Take Cobb out.
He is?
Leave him in.
Yeah, but Cobb's a little bit tougher though. You know what I mean? You don't know?
I don't know. Gentry this year is pretty damn tough.
This is a new. I will tell y'all this. I don't know if you guys know Mike Morgan. I play with Mike Morgan. And Gentry reminds me a lot of Mike Morgan. And every time I call Mike Morgan a lot, I still talk to him from college. And I call Mike Morgan a lot, be like, hey, your boy, he's playing his ass off now. He's like, yeah, he better. He reminds me a lot of Mike Morgan. Mike Morgan was long and lanky like him too when he was at SC. You got anything else for us, Brian?
No, sir. Thank you for having me.
No,
Thanks,
I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
See, Ryan, you like this, huh? I stole this from Jay.
No, it's great. I know. It's fantastic.
Anybody else want to come in? We've been on here for an hour. Ryan said he only wanted to do 20 minutes, and I apologize. Honestly, I'm gonna request somebody. Lamont, you've been talking for a while. Here's your opportunity to talk to me in real time. I'll drop the link one more time. Jump on, Lamont. If you're still on here, Lamont Hart. Yeah, Ryan. I you know what? I was a little infuriated, and then when that's why they say write things down before you send the email. I was infuriated. Then when I had a chance to think about it, and I'm sitting back and thinking about it, and I'm like, we'll be all right. You know what? You made a very good point. You made a good point and we can use last year's team. I don't think last year's team would have handled this well in the locker room, and I think this year's team is going to handle it really well in the locker room.
Yeah, I think they have really good player leaders this year. Really good team leaders.
No, definitely. So,
and I think that was evident just from halftime. I mean, it was a different team that second half. So
Let's see. He says, I'm trying, but it says my browser doesn't work for it. Are you on your computer or on your phone? I don't know. Talking to him, and we're talking to him through the
he can't
chat.
answer you.
Yeah. Oh man. Definitely. All right. Well, I don't think we'll be able to get him on here. We ain't had our man Jeff in here in a while. Yeah. Phone. Oh, you got to download the app. We'll set. Hey, hit Lamont. Hit me up in my DM on X or Twitter, and I'll set you up on how to set it up. And the next time you could come on and you can ask your questions because you got to get the app, and that's going to take too long. And we're ready to go. Anybody else want to jump in? Now's your chance. All right. Well, guys, I'm gonna leave you on this. We're okay. All right. One more question. Should Gentry come out? No. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself. I didn't mean to do that. Don't get ahead of yourself, Lamont. Don't get ahead of yourself. No. This guy hates Mason Cobb, and I disagree with that. Mason Cobb has been put in a better position, and Logan's
Cobb,
on
I think, has been.
Yeah.
Logan is on. Logan, it's good to hear from you. You're always hanging out. It's always great. But yeah, you are clearly not happy.
Yeah, Logan's upset today. Logan, you want to talk about it, buddy? Like, I can give you a hug. I understand you're upset. Cobb should be on the bench. Wow.
I thought Cobb played pretty. I mean, I need to watch the tape again, but I thought he played pretty good.
Is Davis number 34?
That's Braylon Shelby.
Oh, Braylon Shelby had a good game. He had a sack today too. Braylon Shelby's getting better. A lot of these people are getting better. Let's see. I agree with Coach.
He's referring to Rayshawn Davis. A lot of fans, and we kind of ask the coaches this too. Like, everyone really pines for Rayshawn Davis, and I get it, but clearly he's now had 2 different coaching staffs, 2 different years being here, and he can't beat out the 3 guys in front of him. So, and there's freshmen that are actually beating me on the depth chart. So there's something there.
Yep. D, what do you got on your mind?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Man, I can't believe after we take the lead 24-0, we get the ball. Lincoln Riley tricks off the game. Instead of running the ball, we start to do these struggle, screen, shovel type passes. Just run the ball.
Yeah.
It was a bad series.
It was. And here's the problem that Lincoln Riley is going to have to learn. And this is what people need to understand with Lincoln Riley. This is a learning process with Lincoln Riley too. I don't think he's ever had a defense this good. And I think he's to the point to where he's like, oh, I could count on the defense. And the defense is going to wear out. And sometimes the defense is going to wear out in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left to go. And then when you need a tackle, and then the running back breaks and he goes all the way down to the 20-yard line, and then they give it up. This is a big learning curve for Lincoln Riley too. It's not just the players that need to learn. This is something Lincoln Riley needs to learn too. He needed to run the ball, or even if he wasn't going to run the ball, he needed to throw passes that he knew were for sure completions. You can't 1,000% rely on defense, because there's going to be days where the defense is not going to perform. You know what I mean? They've only given up 50 points in 2 games or something like that, Ryan, which is amazing. But what was
47?
it? 24, 20, 47.
Well, no, less than that, 40, because there was a pick 6 today, so only 20.
Yeah.
20 today and 20 on.
Yeah, but there's going to be days. There's going to be a day where the defense gives up 30, and we're going to need the offense. And Lincoln Riley needs to learn that. But he's never been in this situation either. This is learning for all of us. This is learning for Lincoln Riley. This is learning for the players. This is learning for fans, because we haven't seen anything like this, and we're walking out expecting them to win. And today they just didn't win. And it's going to be like that sometimes. We walk into the casino, think we're going to hit the casino, and we don't hit the casino. Or we expect news that we want to hear, and we don't get the news that we want to hear. Or today's supposed to be the day something happened, and it just doesn't happen. The question is, how do you recover from it? You know what I mean? And so this is a learning curve for Lincoln Riley, and I think he'll be okay. And I think he's going to grow from it. I think this year he's been more open to grow and not be stubborn in his ways than he has in the past year.
I hope so, because this game was so pivotal, man. We needed a victory on this game.
I don't think we needed a victory. It would have been good to win, but when you say we need a victory, it sounds like all hope is lost for the college football playoff and our season is over.
Not
It
at
was-
all. Not at
Yeah.
all. But it's just that a lot was right. This is the first Big Ten game. We got new facilities coming, recruiting, the whole narrative. So you know what the narrative they're going to run for the next couple of weeks, right? We can't stop the run, and we still have tackling issues.
That's fine, and all we got to do is prove them wrong the very next weekend. That's a good thing. That's a good thing about football. You get a brand new opportunity to do it the very next week, and we get an opportunity to shut everybody down. We got a team coming in that's going to do the exact same thing in Wisconsin because their quarterback is hurt, and we get a chance to show that we can stop the run, and we get a chance that we're not soft, and we get a chance to show that we're able to play in the Big Ten.
I did not see the cornerback number 17, the brother from Mississippi State.
Ryan,
I forgot his name. Nicholson? Yes, is he hurt or something? Because he was starting over Humphreys.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, as far as I know, he's not hurt. He wasn't on the injury report. As of our Thursday press conference with Riley, they had a full, basically, roster. So I don't know if he's down the depth chart a little bit. But yeah, it's a good question because in spring game, obviously, he was kind of like the dude that everyone was talking about. And then we haven't seen him a whole lot. But today was also weird, too, because it's just like they didn't need corners today.
Yeah.
You're so right. I can't believe somebody threw for 32 yards in Division I football for Michigan.
Yeah. Isn't it funny, though?
Tom Brady must be throwing up right now. Tom Brady's pissed.
Isn't it funny, though? And D, you're totally right. But it's funny how a different narrative, like, how many times have USC won with 30 rushing yards, but they'll throw it all over the yard? But everyone's like, oh, no one even talks about it. But if you only throw for a certain amount, everyone's like, wow, they somehow beat by only throwing for that. It's just funny. You're totally right, but it's just funny.
That's crazy that the game is shit. I will tell you this too, D. I will tell you this. It doesn't hurt recruiting. This loss doesn't hurt recruiting because the way they lost.
True.
This loss 100% helps recruiting. You want to know why? Because now this is what's going to happen with recruiting. And Ryan heard me say this before. Now they could go and recruit like we're one guy short. We're one guy short from running the Big Ten. And guess who that guy is? D, you're that guy. Are you going to come to USC and be that guy and put us over the hump?
Well, and to that point, like Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, who's one of the best linebackers still out there, was at this game, obviously visiting Michigan, but, he gets to watch the whole game. And, they lost, but he got to see what those SC linebackers did. Gentry and Cobb on the outside and Easton Mascarenas. And I think that bodes well. I think you can see what Coach Entz is doing, Coach Lynn is doing with the scheme. And, there's still some holes and size issues, but I think any recruit will see like, oh yeah, that defense is actually like, look at the adjustments made, look at the swarming tackling they were doing and whatnot. So in my opinion, I don't think this game hurts recruiting at all. I think I get it because you lose and the way they lost, but overall, I think this actually was still a really positive thing for recruiting.
So real quick before I go, because I appreciate you guys letting me log on because I literally logged on at the last second, right?
No, you're good. You're good.
Here's a problem I see coming moving forward is I was hoping that Lake McCree would have a great year, right? Because he'd be a perfect safety blanket. But when we play better teams, he's not necessarily the most dynamic guy when he catches the ball, right? So he catches the ball, he immediately gets swarmed, right? But he's a good run blocker, right? Now you take away Lake, who looks like he might be injured, right? Let's just say worst. Let's don't go worst case scenario. Let's just say he's out for a couple of games. One, does it affect the running game? The Lake's not there. Mm-hmm. Two, the safety blanket is now have to be a different person now because Lake was the perfect safety blanket for Moss. He's gone. And who's going to really step up from that tight end group?
So I would say I don't think it affects the run game because they were still able to run. They ran the ball very effectively in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? There were some big runs that Woody Marks came off. And reports out, and Ryan could attest to this more, and he could cover this more. Reports out of campus that the two other tight ends that they have are going to be projected to be better than like McCree, and they're too young.
Good.
So they're going to be very good. Right, Ryan? You remember
they have a ton of talent at tight end, but obviously, D, you're totally right. Like Moss and McCree have an obvious connection. They're, good friends off the field. And so anytime loss, I mean, they're, it's chemistry, right? Like you have to have chemistry to trust a guy, and they obviously trust. I mean, that's a big loss. I don't think in the talent wise, I think they'll be okay. And whatnot. What was, if, I'm usually one of his biggest defender, but if I'm going to be extra critical on Lincoln Riley, like going up against this defense, like trying to do these jet quick screens with Lake McCree is not, it's not the move. Like he's not that type of guy. He's a big body guy that can maybe go over the middle. And we saw some really fun, like almost RPO stuff against LSU, where then they hit McCree over the middle. But trying to do these quick out jet sweeps to McCree against this high flying Michigan defense was definitely not the right personnel package for that. So this will maybe force, I never want to see a guy injured, and obviously, hopefully he's back, but might force them to rethink kind of how they're doing that. Cause I mean, that should obviously be either Joyner, Marks, or Zachariah Branch every time.
I love everything about Miller Moss. I actually went to the Holiday Bowl. I just hope he doesn't get, I hope he learns from these telegraph throws sometimes, because he stared down that same route that he, threw this pick six was the same situation in the Holiday Bowl against Louisville, where, he just stared him down. It's like, hey, here I'm coming, and I got the arm, and I'm going to Brett Favre this throw, and it doesn't matter. And it's like, you're in college now. You know what I mean? Like this is high stakes, because that guy from Michigan sat on that so easily. When he caught it and took off, Zachariah Branch didn't even try to catch him. You know what I mean? He was gone. So it was just like, that was.
Yeah, but did you see the drift by Zachariah Branch? If you go back and look at it, no, that's a big deal though, because that's why Miller Moss came and talked to him. He was expecting him to sit down, and one thing I can say, like, you see a lot of Miller Moss's throws, and you see that they're low, but the receivers still catch them. You see that they're off to the left, and the receiver ball play. When you watch tomorrow, watch the ball placement in NFL quarterbacks. Every ball's not at the numbers. Miller Moss's ball placement is very, very good. I'm gonna say it's on an elite level. I can't throw that all on Miller Moss, because the drift by Zachariah Branch did a lot. I will say this though, and a lot of people didn't see it. He took the safe option. If he would have hit the whole shot, it would have been a touchdown. Nobody noticed that the whole shot was wide open. He missed the whole shot. He wanted to get safe and get the first down. He should have hit the whole shot, but that's okay. It's only week 3, and he'll hit the whole shot. Just like when he missed the shot up top to Deuce, and he came back and then hit the shot up top to Jacoby Lane for the touchdown. Miller Moss is better than people think. He's going to be taken on the first day next year.
I'll watch the game again. Usually what I do is first time I watch it is off of emotion. Second, I'll watch it just strictly off of football. But this is what I will say, and I'm critical on Lincoln on this. I'm not feeling Zachariah Branch across the middle.
Yeah.
He's too small. The window that you're forcing Miller to throw it into is Aaron Rodgers level.
Yeah, Zach Branch is a conversation that we need to save.
I think we need to watch. We need to watch film on Darren Sproles.
Yeah, I think too.
Like that.
I think too. They and they have a deep room. We've talked about it a lot, but I think that's where you miss Mekhi Lemon going out so early, because that's typically what his role is, that slot over the middle guy with Lake McCree. Usually Branch isn't doing that, but once Lemon was out, they kind of had to throw him in there.
You mean Lemon, the guy that got targeted in the head and they didn't call it?
Yeah, exactly. another one of those good calls. Yeah, they had to go to the hospital. Yeah, that Lemon.
Yeah.
But I hear
all right,
you.
D, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, I'm about to comfort eat, man. I'm not taking this last good, man. I'm about to eat some food.
We'll be all right, man.
Some bourbon.
Hey, D, I guarantee you, I'll give you 3 victory Sundays from now, and you'll come on here. You'll be like, man, we're in a good place. We just got to make sure we stay healthy. We're in a good place, D. We'll be all right.
I'll create an account in StreamYard. This is the first time I've ever done this.
You don't have to create an account. Just whenever we put the log in there, just click on it. You can come on through.
All right, appreciate it. You guys fight on.
All right,
thanks,
fight
bro.
on, man.
Fight on.
All right, D, you're the last one. I gotta get out of here. I gotta feed my kid. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Ryan, you said you were only gonna do 20 minutes. You stayed for hour 20. I appreciate you, dog.
Yeah, hour later. I thought my wife would be home by now, so that's why I was just waiting to get yelled at, but she's not home yet. So
I got a text saying that you're taking I'm terrible at signing off from my wife because she's watching on TV. No moral victories. It's not a moral victory. Nobody's saying a moral victory. We're just talking about what we need to learn. All right, let me get off here before I stay on here for another 2 hours. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys for going on. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, no, good. All
You
good.
sure?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say one last thing because I saw someone talking about the trenches and Lincoln Riley doesn't build in the trenches. And this is not an excuse. Today's offensive line obviously was not good. So I'm not making an excuse, but I think that's just a fallacy that's not true because 5 offensive linemen in the 23 class, 5 in the 24 class, 3 already in this 25 class that aren't done yet. Whether you think they're the right guys or not, that's a whole different story. But they're clearly building the offensive line, and he's put an emphasis on that. And the big difference, I actually saw someone mention this earlier, but this offensive line outside of Pregnon senior transfer, Jonah Monheim senior, and you got 3 freshmen basically, or a redshirt freshman. Texas has all seniors and juniors on that offensive line that they've now. So, it's not there. It's not good enough yet, but I just don't want anyone to think the sky is absolutely falling going up against that D line.
We're so young, guys. We're so young. And I'm not using this as an excuse, but Graham is going.
So young,
yeah, the offense is young. Think about this. Graham is going to go on Thursday in the NFL draft. You know what I mean? And the sophomore from Sacramento, Noah, he's all right. He'll be all right. He needed this.
Noah's solid. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you need the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Now I know what I need. Let me get
now
better.
now they know what the standard is. Now you know. Yep. So let's see how 100%. They respond. If they look like that again against Wisconsin and Penn State, then we're like, okay, now we have a systematic issue. But if they come out against Wisconsin and look better, then they needed that punch in the mouth.
I think they will. I'm gonna be oh, look at that. Both of our T tackles are going on the probably top 15. Yeah, and I agree. Like here's a good example. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap up. I promise you guys, I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna say this. They have a standard that has been set and has been built for the last 6 years. We're still building a standard and still trying to set a standard. Where we are now, we're okay. If we're building a house, we grade it, we excavate it, and we put all the dirt back. And now we ran the underground utilities last year because last year stunk. So that was all the doo-doo lines. Now we're setting the foundation. We're building our house. Just give us some time and we'll be good. We'll be okay. It's okay. I think we're going to learn from this. I think our locker room is good and we'll be fine and everything's going to be good. We're going to break down the game on Monday. It'll be up Tuesday. We'll have a lot to talk about and then we'll move on to Wisconsin and we're going to flush it. We're going to move forward and we're going to be in the Big Ten championship because we're going to beat Penn State by 80 points. So let's go there. Good deal. Yes. I appreciate you,
pack
Ryan.
The Collie on Saturday. No, it's sold out, but show up.
Yeah, pack the Collie. I hope I got my press credential because I asked for that game. But I appreciate you, Ryan, and I will see you Monday. Thank all you guys for joining in. I know I went long. I appreciate it. I stole the idea from Jay. And Jay, Jay came in here. Me and Jay are good friends. You guys see me on Jay's show, so it's not a big deal. You guys come in, we could talk. Just be respectful. You guys know how it goes. It's not a victory, but we'll be all right. We fell off our bike. Let's wipe our knee off. Let's keep riding our bike and let's keep moving forward. You guys know how it goes. Live free, fight on.